Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about how to come forward from down dog into forward fold, working towards coming back up into mountain pose. So we're going to talk about the different modifications that you can use to get your feet from the back of the mat to the front of the mat. We will work on baby stepping your feet forward, which is probably the easiest. Then we will talk about taking one step forward and trying to get the foot all the way from the back of the mat to the front of the mat in a lunge position in one step. And right away, I'm going to tell you that most people cannot do that right away. You have to work on a few other modifications before. Having said that, some of you will be able to step forward very easily. Take one step, come forward, take two steps, you're already in your forward fold. So, again, I want to give you some modifications for those of you working up to that who can't step forward. You will notice that your left side and your right side of your body are going to be will be different. You'll find that it's easier to step forward on one side, and then you get to the other side, and it's going to be a little difficult. And it really has something to do with, a lot of things, but your hip mobility, your core, your strength to bring yourself forward. So we're going to start off with the easiest variation. And I just want to remind you of a few things that I would like you to avoid. So basically, we're talking from down dog, trying to bring our feet forward into forward fold, and then eventually lifting the torso back up into mountain pose. Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to make sure that my microphone is in. From your downward facing dog. So we've already gone over all the things that you should be mindful in downward facing dog. And then we are going to start the movement. So let's say we're in our flow and we've come to a point where we've stepped back, we've come to our downward facing dog, and now we're moving forward with the rest of the flow, and somehow we have to get our feet back forward. So the easiest way that you're going to be able to do that is to literally start taking little baby steps forward. And the goal is to try to get your feet over here between your hands, or closer to your hands, as close to your hands as possibly that you can. Some of you will have difficulty, and the first thing that you will do is probably this. You're going to start walking forward and go, oh, I can't do it. Here I go. Okay, here, I'm in forward fold. So first mistake is lifting your hands. Try to keep your hands connected to the floor still. If you're unable to keep your flat hand, TP hands, but don't lift. What does that make you do? That makes you recruit your ab muscles. So basically, I'm trying to draw everything in towards the center. I'm trying to create space. I'm trying to hollow out here to get my feet forward. Yes? So, downward facing dog. As I'm baby stepping, I'm not just kind of allowing my belly to sag. I'm trying to lift. I'm trying to hollow out here, hollow in the belly button area. And you're going to come to a point where, I need a little bit more space. Okay, here's my fingertips. And I'm continuing. There I am. There's my forward fold. And then I can continue up into a standing position, coming to mountain pose, and then continuing with either sun salutations or whatever else is going on. Yeah? You might need a little extra other than the TP hands. So what you can do is help yourself a little bit by bending your knees. Here's my downward facing dog. I'm coming forward. I'm running out of space, so maybe I can soften my knees a little bit and make that something that I can use to try to bring my feet forward a little bit more. That may not work for you. If you'll notice, I'm coming forward, my knees are bent, but I'm not really creating much space, more space to come forward. For me, that's actually harder. So for me, I'd rather come up to fingertips. I'm still connected to the floor, and there I go. What happens if you start to bend your knees too much, then you're here. And getting into your forward fold like this is very difficult. It's very awkward. Your back is really curved. It's not actually easier, especially for me. Bending my knees coming forward is not easier. So, take away from baby stepping forward, keep your hands on the floor. That's what you want to do. Lift that tail, create more space between mat and belly as you try to walk forward. I'm trying to lift my tail. I'm trying to create space. I got long legs. I'm using my fingertips. And then I can continue with flat back, forward fold, coming up into mountain pose, continuing with whatever I'm doing. Yes? Now, you might be using that for days, weeks, months, and you might get to a point where I want a little bit more. I want to challenge myself a little bit more. So what we're going to try to do is step one foot forward into a lunge. Let's say we were going from downward facing dog and we're going into a lunge. Up to now, we've been stepping back into our lunge. So now we're going to be stepping forward. So from your downward facing dog, again, long spine. I'm going to go with my right foot first, and I'm going to lift it off the floor. So I'm going to lift it up towards the sky. Now, what I want to try to do is step my foot right beside my right foot, right beside my right thumb. So I'd like to come high onto the left foot, draw my knee in, arch my back, and try to create space between the floor and my belly. I'm pushing my shoulders forward, and then I'm trying to step my foot forward. So I stepped it forward. It's pretty close to my lunge position. And then at that point, I can continue with either runner's lunge. Maybe I'm going into wherever I'm going to. I can be going into warrior two. I could be simply coming up into my crescent lunge. And my foot made it pretty close to where I want my lunge to be. It's pretty close. Some of you won't be able to do that. Some of you will do it easy and go, easy peasy, what is she talking about? For those of you who cannot do it, you have to help your foot along. So now I'm going to use my left foot closest to the camera so that you can see what I'm going to do. Again, a few options here. I'm going to go with the one that I would like you to try to use most often. So here we go. I lift my leg up towards the sky. And that would be an inhale, in case you're wondering. Now, again, I want to create as much space between the floor and me so that I have more space to step my foot through. So high onto the foot, that's on the floor. I'm drawing my knee in tight towards my chest. And then I'm going to try to flick from my knee down to my foot forward. And there you go. I'm stuck. I wasn't able to step my foot into the lunge position. I ran out of space, and there's my foot. And it's like, okay, well, now what? I need to get that foot forward, because if I try to come up into a lunge position here, it's not going to happen. So, my left foot is there stuck. I literally am going to take my left hand, grab my ankle, and I'm going to help it, help it, help it. Boom. There's my lunge position, or as close to lunge as I can. And then at that point, I would continue. I'm coming up to my crescent lunge. Yeah? Now, that back knee was lifted, right? Some of you will not be able to coordinate that. You won't have enough strength in the one arm to support you. Your balance is off. There's many, many reasons why that won't work. So another modification, a regression for that, is to help with the back leg. There's my downward facing dog, down dog. Here's my left foot. I'm trying to step it forward, but I haven't created enough space yet. I'm stuck. Now, if my balance is really bad, letting go of this one hand might be beyond my capability right now. So I literally might need to drop my opposite foot while I help this foot along. And then I can either decide, stay with my low lunge option, or lift up that back knee and then continue into crescent lunge, whatever's going on. So many times letting go of the floor with those two hands is too scary. So use that back knee as an option, but ideally, I'll flip around and show you on my better side. Ideally, you're trying to get that foot into that lunge position in one step. Eventually, it might be a jump forward with both feet, but we're not quite there just yet. So stepping forward with one step with one foot, and then the opposite foot with the second step is kind of the goal that we're trying to do. So again, here's my downward facing dog. That would be your exhale. My inhale would be lifting my foot, trying not to open up the hip, but there I am. I'm coming forward with my exhale to see if I can step the foot forward. That's one. Yes? So if we were going into a lunge position, I would continue lifting the torso, but maybe we're coming into a forward fold. So now I need to bring the back foot forward. There's my forward fold. So I hope you understand the one foot, one step, second foot, second step. Once again, inhale, one leg up. Exhale, step it forward. That's one step. Second step, forward fold. And then at that point, we might continue into flat back, forward fold, up into a standing position. Yes? I'd encourage you to try to do that. The one step either into lunge and continue from lunge, or if we're coming forward into forward fold, take the one step forward and then the second foot. So again, on this side, which is not my better side, so I'm going to help my foot along on this side. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. I didn't quite make it. See how my knee is hanging over my ankle? Not good, not good. I'm going to help it. There I am. I can continue into lunge or forward fold. And taking that step forward with the second foot, you're trying to get it as close to mountain pose as possible. You're not going to get it every single time exactly. Let's say your balance is really bad and you step forward and I'm not quite right. So I can fix it. And then I can continue with either my flat back coming up. Yeah? So it's getting your feet from the back of the mat forward. Either we're coming into a lunge, so that would only be one foot, or I'm trying to bring both feet forward into forward fold. That is going to start recruiting these muscles, ab muscles. It's going to start recruiting shoulder muscles as you shift your weight forward from down dog. So again, you're just starting to ask your body to do a little bit more. Most of you will find stepping back into a lunge, for example, from mountain pose back into a lunge, Most of you will find that easier. Stepping forward, going to take a little practice. I do much better on one side. My right side steps forward into a lunge. Pretty close. I'm pretty close where I want to be. Unfortunately, my left side is not quite the same. So when I step forward on my left side, I need to give it a little help. I still need to give it a little help. So not to discourage you, but you're going to notice that one side much easier. And you might even be the person who find both sides very easy. You step forward, boom, easy peasy, you're done. And then you can continue. But for those of you who find that a little difficult, start with the baby steps. Work your way up to one step. And then if you find that, okay, fine, you take your one step and, okay, I need some help. How many hops forward do you actually need? Is it 1, 20, 50, 100? Or from where I first got stuck, could I lift and put it with one more extra? Or do I need 2 extra? You're trying to make the steps less. Yeah? Because if, for example, it's taking you, I'm going to exaggerate, stupid here. Let's say it takes you 20 steps to get that foot forward into your lunge. That's time consuming. So you're going to be considerably behind in your flow. That's not the end of the world. However, up here, you may have already kind of lost the rhythm of the flow, and you're kind of feeling a little off. So you want to try to get there with as least steps possible. Having said that, if you need a couple steps, you need a couple of steps. We're still taking our time in our flow, and I'm allowing you plenty of time to get there. But eventually, we want to avoid taking 25 steps to get there. We want to try to get there maybe in one step. And like I said, eventually maybe jumping forward. But not just yet. Don't worry about that. We're no jumping yet. This is still a relatively easy practice, a beginner flow. We want to make it accessible for everybody. So stepping forward, coming forward from downward facing dog into either a lunge or coming into your forward fold. Those are kind of your options. Your baby stepping is your easiest. Stepping forward with one leg is probably the harder of the two, I think, but it's going to start developing a lot of core muscles. And we always want to be working on our core because it actually controls quite a bit of what our body does. So that's about it for today. We're going to start working even that little bit of information into our flows. And hopefully you are learning all the different modifications that you can put into place. So that's it for today, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.